What's up, party people? I'm going to give you a quick update of what we're going to talk about today, and then we're going to jump right into the episode. So, I'm going to give you guys an update on my running program. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I've been posting a lot of that stuff, and then also trying to get a little group together for accountability, try and help people with some fitness goals, running goals, anything like that. We're going to talk about Bryce Harper signing. So, I mentioned last week where I thought he was going to go, where I wanted him to go, and then what happened. Jason Whitten coming out of retirement, leaving Monday Night Football, going back to the Cowboys. We're going to talk about some notable players as well that have come out of retirement that have had success after retiring. Went to Charlotte Checkers hockey game last night with the family, so I'm going to talk about that. Some upsets in college basketball yesterday that I thought were made for an exciting Saturday. And then finally, I'm going to end with an article that I saw about OrangeTheory. If anybody knows about that gym and how it's all set up, pretty interesting concept. And so I'm going to talk about that, and we're going to wrap up from there. So hope you enjoy. All right, welcome to 2 Cents Worth. As always, I'm your host, Ryan DeFaber. So, first thing I want to talk about is the running program that I have been following. So, it's an 8-week program, which I've talked about before, and it ends with you running a 10K race. So, again, the goal was never to run an actual 10K race to go and sign up for one, but it was something to have an end goal for. So, a lot of times in the way that I approach my fitness goals, mostly my fitness goals. Let's not talk about personal or anything else like that. Let's talk about just fitness goals in general, is to have an end to something, something to work towards. So for this one, it was an 8-week running program, which on top of that, I'm also doing a 12-week lifting program. So, I have something to work towards, and it's not just a continuous program over and over and over again, because especially when it comes to working out, losing interest and it becoming mundane can creep in. 12 weeks still is even a long time. A 3-month program for lifting can get a little flat at times and not the most exciting. So when it came to running, which is not something I'm a huge fan of, I'm starting to learn to like it a little more, day over day, especially when I'm seeing the progress that I'm making and the fact that I'm able to run at a certain pace and whatnot, which has been really helpful, and certain distances that I just really hadn't been doing before on a consistent basis, was, getting to that program of something that was going to be able to keep me interested. And so I found this program online, and it was just a 10 or 8-week beginner or intermediate. I can't remember what it is. I think it's beginner or intermediate. Yeah, I think it's intermediate 10K training program. So again, I'm not trying, at the end of the 10 weeks, I will go out on a Saturday and run a 10K around my where I live and around my area, but I'm not entering in a race. But the point of the whole program was to get me to start doing a different type of cardio and have a different set of goals on top of my lifting goals, and just seeing some really good results so far. So I'm really pleased with it. If anyone's interested in being a part of a group that we can keep each other motivated and accountable for, hit me up. I put a couple stories on my Instagram yesterday, which would be Saturday, after my run, as I'm walking home doing my cool down, about putting together a small little group or a large group, whatever it might be, to just keep each other motivated around your fitness goals or running or cardio or whatever it might be. So if you are interested in that, you can find me on Instagram at 2 Cents Worth Podcast, or you can email me 2centsworthpodcast@gmail.com if you don't follow me on Instagram. And also on Facebook, there's 2 Cents Worth Podcast on Facebook as well that you could find me at. And let me know if you're interested in that. and we can put together a little small group and just keep each other motivated and share our goals, whatever it might be. Just create a little bit of a community. With the small platform that I do have, I think it is important to make sure that you have people around you that are supporting you and not trying to question what you're doing or tear you down or not be that supportive. I'm a true believer, especially when it comes to fitness, because after leaving college and being a collegiate athlete, struggling to find that rhythm again of what we did as kids, basically. And now, I'm an adult with family and kids and everything, kind of getting that motivation back to be that type of athlete that I was before. I don't ever expect to go back to that type of person, but because, I'm not 18 anymore. But, to have some type of motivation to stay healthy outside of just my family. And, when you have a small group of people around you that support you, or a large group, again, it doesn't have to be a small group. When you have a group of people around you that support you, that goes a long way. So I really think it's important. I have that right now, but I certainly would like to have, I wouldn't shy away from getting more people that would support my goals around fitness and health, and as well as yours. So if you're interested, hit me up. Let me know. That's the update on that. 4.5 miles was the long run yesterday. I did that in 33:50, so 7.5 minute mile pace is what I was at. So I'm really pleased with that I've been kind of sticking around that 7.5 to 7:45 pace for miles. I think that's pretty good. I think I'm pretty pleased with that, especially considering that outside of about 3-4 weeks ago, I hadn't been running, and I hadn't run in a long time. Months had gone by. So I was really happy with my progress so far and where we're at. So this week, I think the Saturday is always the long run. Saturday's long run is 5 miles, so it'll be the longest I've run since I ran a 10K a few years ago. So the one thing I was telling Lindsay, my wife, is the one thing I've been kind of enjoying as I get towards these longer runs, because during the week I do it makes you do like a 3 mile run and a 2.5 mile run, or a 3 and a 2 mile run as your 2 runs leading up to your long run. And there's so many loops or routes that I can do around the neighborhood or around the area that I could get that 2 or 3 miles pretty easily. But when it comes to like a 4.5 or a 5 mile run, I kind of have to look at the map and see where I can go and what would actually get me to that. Which I think has been kind of cool. It creates that excitement of knowing, where you're going to go and run, and knowing that, that what is going to get you to that end point of that mileage. So, it's small things, just keeping you motivated. And that's one of them, is kind of planning my route has been a motivator going into a Saturday. And even on a Saturday morning, like yesterday morning, I was like, all right, if I go out here and do this and go around here, and Lindsay's been doing running for her entire life, and and outside of this past year where she has an injury, so I'm trying to share with her like where I'm going to go and will that get me to that mileage, and she's trying to tell me yes, or you're going to have to add this portion to it and then come back, and it's like it's kind of cool to have that that thought process and knowing where I'm going to have to go to get to it, and while you're running it, knowing, okay, I've accomplished mile 1, mile 2, mile 3. So now I know where I'm at now, and I have my Garmin on, and I'm wearing it because I'm monitoring everything, which we're going to get to later on about everyone's current obsession in fitness around always monitoring and tracking everything. So I'm tracking my miles on my wrist, right, and then it's connected to apps on my phone. And then I'm feeling, I don't like looking at it, because what I don't like to do is see the time that I'm at. I'd rather just kind of feel my body out and be like, okay, can I do this pace? And you can, once you start running for a while, you kind of can figure out, what your pace is currently at and what speed you need to be at. So I knew, like, right out the gate when I started running yesterday, I was like, this pace is probably between 7:30 to 8 minutes, right? I mean, I'm not going to have an exact science. And the first mile was 7:30, and the second mile was like 7:30, and the third mile was 7:30. So like I kind of just kept that stride and that pace going So I don't really like to look at my watch to see where I'm at. It's just the vibration. So when it vibrates once, obviously I know I've had a first mile, and then that second vibration is 2 miles and 3. And then the whole time you're playing a mental game, especially when it comes to cardio and running and everything. That's like the biggest thing is your mind will mess with you the most. Your body is fine, right? But it's always your mind going, stop, just stop. You don't need to do this. Don't stop, right? That always creeps in. So for me to counteract that, I sit there and I just go, I know that I'm not going to look at this watch and try and cheat myself and knowing how much time I have or how far I've gone until I feel that fourth vibration, because then it's 4 miles. So then from there, mentally, then I can check myself kind of back in and say, okay, now I only have a half a mile. And for me, I know from my house to the end of my neighborhood is a half a mile. So I know that distance, right? Pretty good distance. I have an understanding of that distance. Not pretty good distance, but I have an understanding of that distance. So then when I felt that fourth vibration is when I finally pulled my sleeve up and looked at my watch, and I was like, okay, 4 miles, and where was I? And where was it going to get me to get to 4.5 miles? So that's something that I do to face that mental block of going, oh man, constantly looking at your phone and then, or your watch, sorry, for me, and looking down and being like, oh my God, I'm only 2.5 miles in. I still have 2 more miles to go. Or, as I continue to get higher and higher, oh my God, I have another 3 miles to go. I just kind of blank out of that, take in what's around me, listen to my music, kind of just check myself out, try and not hear myself mentally of going, oh, when's your wrist going to vibrate again? Oh my God, you have to have run more than 2 miles. Look at your watch. I just kind of get into that zone and know that thing is going to vibrate on my wrist. I have it tight enough on my wrist and I'm going to feel it. So for me, that's just a little trick that I do for the mental aspect of it. I'm sure there's some other things that people do to kind of stay focused in on mentally, because that is the worst thing, is going on a run or going and doing some type of cardio, and the mental creeps in of going, just stop. You don't need to do this. Why are you doing this? What are you doing this for? Just stop. Just walk. Stop. Turn around. Do whatever you need to do. Like, it always kind of creeps in, but your body can withstand a lot. It's the mind. So that's my constant battle, especially when it comes to running. All right, so let's go into the next thing that I wanted to cover, which was Bryce Harper signing. So Bryce Harper signs with the Philadelphia Phillies. So last week I talked about how it was the Phillies and the Giants. Well, the Dodgers came in at the last second. They tried to put together another thing, but it was really down to the Phillies or the Giants. And at the end of it, he signed with the Phillies, a 13-year deal worth $330 million. So Harper got a longer deal than Machado. Machado, though, got a more lucrative annual deal. So his deal will pay him more. Machado's deal will pay him more than Bryce Harper's deal will pay him. But Bryce Harper got more years. Brycer, maybe that should be his nickname. Brycer Harper also got no opt-out. So if Machado doesn't like San Diego after 5 years, he can opt out. Whereas Harper, he's married to the Phillies. 13 years, there's no opt-out. He is there for 13 years, as well as a full no-trade clause. While Machado has a limited... Machado's deal is limited to a select number of teams. So Machado has an opt-out. He has a more lucrative deal, and he has the potential of being traded if the Padres need to free up space. Whereas the Phillies, they married themselves to Bryce Harper. 13 years, no opt-out, no trade clause, unless Harper waives that. So very interesting for both sides, for Harper and for the Phillies. I think what it shows the baseball fan is that Harper wanted to find somewhere that he was going to basically end his career. And that's a very interesting concept to think about, considering he's only 26 years old. But when this contract ends in 2031, he will be 38 years old. And at that point in time in baseball, that is when, everyone's swan song. That's the end of their career for the most part, if not sooner, for those that are that have the longevity to do so. So I thought it was very interesting. I think it certainly shows a certain side of Harper as an individual, is that he was looking for somewhere that he could stay for the remainder of his career rather than chasing money. Look, that's a lot of money, $330 million. So let's not pretend like he's not chasing money. But he wanted a statement deal, and he got it. But he wanted a statement deal for a team and an organization that he could stay with for a very long time, and that's what he did. Whereas Machado, 10 years, can opt out after 5. Nolan Arenado from the Rockies, the same week that Machado signed, he signed for 8 years, and he can opt out after 3. So that opt-out clause always, is interesting, and the fact that Harper didn't have it in his just kind of showed you what he wanted. Another cool thing that I saw was yesterday they introduced him. Yesterday was March 2nd. Today's March 3rd. If you're listening and not today or throughout the week or whenever, was how he did honor Roy Halladay, who unfortunately passed away in a plane crash. So Roy, who's going to go to the Hall of Fame, he got voted into the Hall of Fame this past year, wore number 34 for the Phillies, and that's Harper's number, and that's what he's always worn, and he has decided to wear number 3, and he came out and said, and I think this was very, really nice of him as an individual, saying that Roy Halladay should be the last person to wear 34 for the Phillies, and so he didn't demand that he had to wear 34, because I know a lot of pros are very concerned about their number because of branding and marketing and, whatever it is, and superstition, anything like that. But he's going to wear number 3, and really nice for him to say, honoring the late Roy Halladay. So congratulations to Bryce Harper for a heck of a contract. We'll see how they all pan out. We'll see how his and Machado's pan out. I think Machado overall is a more consistent player, so I think the Padres are going to get more consistency out of him than the Phillies might get out of Harper. But at the same time, I think the Phillies are set up more for success today and for the immediate future than the Padres. I think the Padres are still a project, because even after they signed Machado, Vegas didn't really change their odds for them to win many more games. I think it was like 2 or 3 more games for them to win. I think they went from they were going to win 66 games to now 68 or 69 games for this year. Whereas the Phillies, who won 80 games last year, you add Harper to it, and you add the catcher from the Marlins, Real Muto, and others that they signed. The Phillies have gotten themselves a lot better to where they can be a contender for the NL East with the Nationals and the Braves, and the Mets made a lot of moves too. The Marlins, they're going to have a baseball team. I don't know how good they're going to be. They're going to have a baseball team, though. So the NL East is shaping up to be a pretty good division there. So it will be very interesting to see how that all works itself out and where the Phillies land. But good to see that that's kind of over with. Again, I talked about the impacts that it potentially could have on baseball, as the worry is that a strike could be looming over the next couple of years because of just how the owners have kind of tightened their wallets and their spending, and free agency is going into spring training. I would have loved for Machado and Harper to have already had signed with their teams before spring training happened. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but now they do get a full month with their team in their respected areas. Phillies down in Florida, Padres in Arizona, so they will get that amount of time to spend with their team and build those relationships and whatnot. So overall, good for baseball that those two signed, and good for those two guys. All right, so let's go into the next thing. So we're going to switch gears again. So we've gone from running to baseball, now into football. So this past week, Jason Whitten, former tight end, now current tight end of the Dallas Cowboys, had left the Monday Night Football booth for ESPN, and he is rejoining the Cowboys, coming out of retirement. And so that sparked my interest to see, well, let's talk about some of the other players that have come out of retirement in the NFL, the National Football League, and the impact that they've had, and the name and some of the names that are out there. So I just went and looked, and I have on here players that have come out of retirement. So Jason Witten ended his retirement. After less than a year in retirement, he will rejoin the Dallas Cowboys. So let's take a look at some of the other guys that have come out of retirement. First one on the list, Marshawn Lynch. In 2015, Seattle Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch announced his retirement. And then in 2017, he rejoined the NFL, came out of retirement, and joined his hometown Oakland Raiders. Randy Moss. See, I forgot that Randy Moss had retired. So after playing 13 years in the NFL, Randy Moss retired in 2010, and in 2012 he came back and joined the San Francisco 49ers. I had completely forgotten about that. So right there, right off the bat, those are two big names. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode. Randy Moss, Hall of Fame wide receiver. And then we got Brett Favre on here twice. So Brett Favre retired, came back, retired, came back. So Brett Favre retired in 2007. After 17 years in the NFL, he retired from the Green Bay Packers. He came out of retirement in 2008 and signed with the Jets. Then in 2008, he retired once again after only playing one season with the Jets. He came back out of retirement the following year and signed with the Minnesota Vikings. So Brett Favre, obviously, and if you witnessed it and whatnot, he just had a problem with actually fully retiring. He finally did. He retired after playing for the Vikings. So Brett Favre, 2 retirements. Ricky Williams, 5 seasons in the NFL. He retired with the Dolphins in 2003, and then he came back in 2005 and returned to the Dolphins. So another big name college player. Ricky Williams had a decent NFL career, but he was more so known for his career at the University of Texas. Deion Sanders, in 2000, Washington Redskins quarterback Deion Sanders retired. He came out of retirement in 2004 and joined the Baltimore Ravens. And then finally, rest in peace, Reggie White. In 1998, Green Bay Packers defensive end Reggie White retired. He came out of retirement in 2000 and joined my hometown, the Carolina Panthers. So some notable guys that have come out of retirement and still played decent for when they came back. So we'll see how Jason Witten does. I don't think he's going to be the main focus of that offense. You can't imagine he's going to be with the weapons that they do have with now I can't even think of who it is. Of course, I was going to go into this whole thing about the Cowboys and who they have. But Dak, you got Ezekiel Elliott, and then the receiver that they traded for from the Raiders, the kid that played at Alabama. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm not going to look it up. I could care less. I'm not a Cowboy fan. But he won't be the central figure like he was when he played with Romo. He's going to be somebody more so down the line of a tight end that's going to be kind of going out, turn around, throw the ball to him. He's not going to be somebody that's really going to make a lot of, I think, be the focus around the offense. There's no way he can be. What will be interesting, though, is that who will replace him in the Monday Night Football booth? So my concern as a Carolina Panther fan is that Greg Olsen will be somebody that could potentially retire and join there because he was one of the candidates to join the booth last year and decided he wasn't selected and he decided to stay in the NFL and unfortunately he was hurt most of this year. But could he be somebody that they would replace Jason Witten with? I don't know. Should be interesting to see. So there you go. Reggie White, Deion Sanders, Ricky Williams, Brett Favre, Randy Moss, Marshawn Lynch. That's a good group of guys to be with, hopefully for Jason Witten, for himself, that he is able to make an impact. So now we're going to go into minor league hockey. So last night, my mother-in-law was and father-in-law are in town, and it was my mother-in-law's birthday, so they're big hockey fans. They're Lightning fans, as they live down in Tampa. But they're here in town because they have a house here as well, and we went to the local hockey team, the Charlotte Checkers. They're an affiliate for the Carolina Hurricanes. So if you're a baseball fan, the best way that I always describe it is they play in the AHL, which is like the AAA of hockey. So they are just one down from the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's a very competitive league and hockey, and it's fast and it's exciting, and they play in this arena in Charlotte here that seats about 10,000 fans, so it's very intimate, and it's a cool minor league setup, and I don't go to enough games. I used to go to quite a bit. My wife used to work for them when we first graduated college, so I would go all the time. Me and my buddy Matt and my buddy Pete and others would go to the games all the time because we would get tickets, and it was something to do on the weekends and the weekdays, anytime that we wanted to go and watch a game. So we went last night, and they ended up winning 8-1, which is crazy to think, because in hockey, still, 8-1, and that's an absolute ass kicking, and that's what that team got. It was the New Jersey Devils affiliate, Binghamton Devils. So 8-1. It was a good time. Harrison, my youngest, wasn't a big fan of how loud it was. All he wanted to do was, I want to hug the bear. I want to hug the bear. The Checkers is their mascot is Chubby the Checker, and he's a big white bear, and that's all Harrison wanted to do. So he finally came around to our section. Harrison, I put him down. I was like, oh, you want to hug him? No, I don't want to hug. Pick me up. He did give him a high five, though, so at least he got that from him. But it was fun. So it got me thinking about Charlotte as a whole and who we are as a sports town. And because we are a smaller market city in terms of professional sports, in the thought of the size city that we are, and players that would come and play here and versus other cities and anything like that, we're considered a smaller market city. But I was thinking about it today, Charlotte as a whole, and I don't think we do a really good job as a city and as a fan base, and I'm guilty of this as well, so I'm not going to point any fingers by any means, but I don't think we do a very good job of flaunting the fact that I truly believe we are a very strong sports city. And I say that because we have 3 professional teams. And then we have also, what do we have? We have hockey, soccer. I thought there was another one. Oh, baseball. We have 3 professional teams at the highest level, and then we have 3 minor league teams. We have 6 sports here in Charlotte that are overall professional teams, but 3 of them are minor league teams. So we have the most popular is your Carolina Panthers, so we have an NFL franchise. We have the Charlotte Hornets. We have an NBA franchise. We have the Charlotte Hounds, which is your Major League Lacrosse franchise. So those 3 right there are 3 at the highest level sports teams that all play in different times of the year. So again, they're not competing for fans. Then from a minor league perspective, we have the Charlotte Knights, which is the AAA affiliate for the Charlotte White Sox, for the Chicago White Sox. So you have very competitive baseball. That stadium is in downtown. Carolina Panther Stadium is in downtown, and the Charlotte Hornets Stadium is in downtown. The Hounds, they play Memorial Stadium, which is right outside of downtown. You have the Charlotte Checkers, which is the affiliate for the Carolina Hurricanes. They play in an arena right outside of downtown. And then you have the Charlotte Independents, which is a soccer team, and they play in a sports complex down in Matthews, which is about 15 minutes south of downtown, 20 minutes south of downtown. So right there, you have 6 professional sports in the city, and I don't think that we do a very good job of flaunting that. As a city, as people that live here, as sports fans, I think we kind of stick to, we have the Panthers. Oh, yeah, we have the Hornets. We don't really ever kind of throw out there all of these other sports that we do have in this city, and I think that's a shame. Hopefully that changes. But if you don't know Charlotte and you've never been to Charlotte, or you're thinking about coming to Charlotte, and you're a sports fan, there's plenty of sports. There's plenty to do. It's a growing city. There's a lot of opportunity. So it's a great city to be a part of, and I'm excited for the future of the city, as I have been. I've lived here now for 20 years. going on 20 years towards the end of this year will be 20 years, so 19 and a half years. And just the growth that I've seen in the city. And then also, again, from a sports town, I think we have a great opportunity to continue to be a really good sports town. And we just need to continue to, puff our chest out a little bit and talk about that this city is a sports town. We are a sports town. I'm planting my flag in there right now. We are a sports town. All right. I'm going to go through just quickly some college basketball scores, and then I'm going to finish up with this article that I read about Orange Theory, which I thought was interesting and just kind of changes some things up. We've been talking a lot about sports. Did talk about fitness in the beginning, but we'll end with some fitness as well. So fitness, running, sports in the middle, fitness again. All right. Yesterday, five top 25 teams lost. Now, I'm not going to call it an upset, but one of the games was two top 25 teams. So it's not really an upset, and that's the first one I'm going to start with. But Tennessee whooped up on Kentucky. So they did a home and away this year, and it was like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. Kentucky absolutely blew Tennessee out of the water, and at that point, Kentucky was ranked 5th, and Tennessee was ranked 1st. This time it was a flip-flop of rankings. Kentucky 4, Tennessee 7, and Tennessee just ran Kentucky out of the gym. I watched the majority of the game because it was on before the Duke game, and Tennessee just controlled that game. So Tennessee beating Kentucky. Game day was at Houston. So going into the game, Houston was 27-1, ranked 8th in the country, and they were playing University of Central Florida. Well, University of Central Florida beat them. So that's an upset. Utah State and Nevada. So Nevada was ranked 12th, and the winner of this was going to win the Mountain West. And Utah State, unranked, beat Nevada. Now they were at home, and they're obviously a good team if it was that the winner was going to win the regular season Mountain West. So it's not like Utah State is a pushover, but still, Nevada preseason was ranked like 6th in the country, and now they're ranked 12th. They lose to Utah State. Indiana, for the second time this year, so Indiana is 15-14, and 2 of their 15 wins are against Michigan State, and Michigan State I think has only 5 or 6 losses. So of Michigan State's 5 or 6 losses, 2 of them have come against Indiana. And then Rutgers, a team of 14-14, beat Iowa, who's ranked 22nd in the country. So top 25 teams, 5 of them lost yesterday. Very interesting. That's rare. I'd say maybe this late in the season would be teams are a little worn down. You're kind of just cruising into the conference championship or conference tournaments. Might be not that rare, but still, five teams in the top 25 lost yesterday. So thought that was pretty interesting. I just wanted to go through that. All right, so let's go into this Orange Theory article that I saw, which I thought was interesting because I don't really know too much about Orange Theory, so I read a little bit about it, and I do know the concept of it. And if you don't know the concept of it, we're going to go through it. So Orange Theory, and again, it goes back to what I was talking about, like tracking and monitoring everything, and how we're, now in fitness, it's very popular. Excuse me. Wearable technology is what they would call it. So Orange Theory Fitness has over 1,100 studios across the globe, and it currently has 500 more branches in the development pipeline. So they are currently going to add potentially 500 as of today. Could be more. The company recently reached $1 billion in system-wide sales for 2018, and they are claiming to be one of the fastest-growing fitness franchise branches on the planet. Orange Theory offers heart rate-based workouts, combining technology and science with community and accessibility for all. And so this is how it kind of this is how the whole thing goes. The article talks about Orange Theory. Orange Theory currently has more than 800,000 members with over 1,100 studios in 49 U.S. states and 22 countries. And again, I said there's another 500 studios in the pipeline. If you want to know about pricing, I have that here as well. Pricing varies depending on location, but a monthly premier membership, which means unlimited classes, costs around $129 to $290 in the U.S. And then it's, again, it's supposedly no, it is. I'd say it's science-backed. So Ellen Latham is the creator and co-founder of it, and she has told this group, this article is from Business Insider. It says, "We are a science-backed workout that produces results. That is why people come to a fitness product for guaranteed results. Our technology allows our members in real time to see how their body is responding. What you do not measure, you cannot achieve." So that's an interesting concept to think about, right? So what you do not measure, you cannot achieve. So their theory, OrangeTheory's theory, is the fact that their technology allows their members to see in real time how their body is responding. So they're measuring what their body is doing in that moment. And because of that, they are able to then help provide and achieve goals. So it further goes into, like, how does this work? Before you enter the studio, the fitness studio, you strap a heart rate monitor around your arm, which is linked to your personal profile. And then there are 3 big screens in the studio displaying each person's stats. And your stats are your heart rate, calories burned, and splat points. So splat points are how many minutes your heart rate has been in the red or orange zones. And then heart rate zones are divided into gray, which is rest, blue, green, orange, and red. And it's the orange zone you're aiming for, hence the name, OrangeTheory. In an OrangeTheory workout, each person is meant to try and achieve 12 to 20 minutes with their heart rate in the orange zone. So over 84% in the orange zone. And the reason for this is all about what they say is EPOC, EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. The afterburn is what they're saying it is. As your body recovers post-workout, your metabolism stays raised and you continue to burn more calories afterwards if you hit that all-important orange zone. It's not too hard to do. And this person who wrote the article says, "I manage more than 20 splat points each of the 5 times I visited OrangeTheory." So there you go. Their workouts are 60-minute group training hit sessions with time split between treadmills, which is what's going to raise your heart rate, rowing machines, your non-impact full body workout, and floor work with weights, your muscle building. The founders call the workouts a multivitamin of metabolic training, and they've been designed with fat burning in mind. So if you're somebody that wants to go and your goal is to burn fat, there's plenty of options out there, right? You have the burn boot camps. I'm sure you have your CrossFits. You have your just regular gyms that you can do classes at. And you have a company like this, OrangeTheory, which has been around since 2010. So they're not new by any means. They're just growing at an impressive rate right now. And they are fully designed around fat burning. So it's not, you can go into the gym and say, okay, I want to build muscle, or I want to do 60 minutes of cardio. That's all I want to do. Or I want to get my heart rate around 140 and keep it there at that. So you can do that. But this company and this gym or studio is designed to kind of plan that all out for you based on what wearable technology you're going to have on, your heart rate monitor, and then putting it up on a screen for you to see. So a lot of people are visual and they need to see that in order to motivate themselves. So I think it's a really cool concept by any means. Let's see. Let me scroll through this real quick if there's anything else about it. But here we go. This is what I wanted to talk about too towards the end here. It says, it taps into our obsession with tracking. So I mentioned it earlier about how I'm running and mentally, I'm waiting for my wrist to vibrate because that's what my watch does, my Garmin Activate 3. I think that's the name of it. It's a Garmin watch. I'm waiting for it to vibrate to tell me when that 1 mile, that 2 mile, that 3 mile And then what I'm doing once I'm done with that run is I'm syncing it onto my Garmin app and my Strava app. So then it goes on there. So then if you follow me on Instagram, then I'm then putting it on my stories or my posts to talk and try and motivate some of you all that might follow me there, to show the progress. So again, that obsession of tracking, it's there. I think it's important. I don't think it's a bad thing that we have this obsession of tracking our workouts. I think it's a good thing that we have that obsession, because again, it goes back to what I just read in this article earlier about you're able to then achieve something, right? So if you're tracking it, then you can see where you were at. So like I ran the last time, oh man, I did it in 7:30 a mile, and then this past run I just did the same distance. I did it in 7:45. Oh man, all right, well I got to try and work back towards that 7:30. What did I do different? Was I in a better mood? Well, was it just better weather? Did I have a certain workout the day before that messed with my muscles? Whatever it might be, right? So all right, so here we go, back into the article. It taps into our obsession with tracking. OrangeTheory has tapped into our current obsession with tracking. From our sleep to what we eat, we can't get enough of self-monitoring. Not only are you able to access your stats during an OrangeTheory workout, but a detailed report will be emailed to you afterwards. So again, like I just mentioned with my Garmin, is I go on, sync it with my Garmin app and then my Garmin app automatically syncs it with my Strava app. So again, and then it tells me, okay, hey, it's done. Your stats are now able to be looked at. So it takes what was on my watch, puts it together in a more comprehensive look that I can see, which is interesting, and what they're doing, but in an email form. And then it says it's not all about competing with others, and the sense of community considering the scale of the organization is impressive. In fact, Latham, again the co-founder, believes OrangeTheory's accessibility has been the key to the company's growth. Any person, no matter what their fitness ability level is, can succeed. Unlike many fitness studios, OrangeTheory isn't intimidating and all levels are catered for. For example, treadmill levels are divided into walker, jogger, and runner. And if you can't run at all, you have the option of going on a cross-training or exercise bike instead. The trainers will push you, but they're encouraging too, regularly using people's names during workout. Everyone leaves the studio with a high five. So it's creating this community and trying to take that stigma out of going to the gym and being intimidated or feeling awkward or pushing yourself into a corner, and then you kind of just eventually fade away and not go back to the gym. I do know that's what CrossFit does a lot too, is trying to create a community, and so these gyms as well are doing the same thing and trying to block out that mindset of what people are so worried about at a normal gym of, you're getting looked at, you're not comfortable there, whatever it might be. It says, technology and community aside, for some, the appeal of OrangeTheory is simply that they know they're going to get a full body workout and not have to think. So again, I talked about it a little earlier. It is this concept of everything is kind of planned for you already. So it already has all these things put together for you. You got your HIIT, your muscle building, and your strength work already there. You don't have to come up with it yourself or try and create something. This is done for you. So again, positive for those that don't really want to have that that responsibility of building out their own workout. Let's see. It says, despite classes of up to 30 people, it's a very personalized workout thanks to heart rate monitors that allow you to track your progress throughout, meaning you know when you're not training where you need to be, which will be different from person to person, which is good, right? Because everybody's different. So your heart rate monitor is going to basically be your accountability monitor, because it's up there on the board and you're seeing how hard you truly are working. And it doesn't matter how hard Steve is working next to you or Susie's working next to you. It's based on you as the individual and what you're trying to accomplish, which is good. So yeah, overall, I don't know too much about OrangeTheory. I do know some people that have gone there, but I thought it was a very interesting article, and it something I wanted to address just around the fitness area and give my thoughts on it and everything. So that's all I have today. As always, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and rate the episode. You can give it 1 to 5 stars. Always 5 is appreciated. And again, if you rate it, it obviously helps with it getting out to more people. If you're listening, share it on Instagram. Let me know you're listening. Put it on your stories. Tag me. Put it in your post. Tag me. Tell people how much you like or dislike this podcast. If you dislike it, I would wonder why you've actually listened to it and taken the time to post about it. But if you do, that's fine too. I mean, I can't please everybody. I'm not really trying to. But yeah, as always, I appreciate the support. I hope you guys have a great week, and we will talk soon. Goodbye.